Hey, what's going on? This is Marcos. Today we're taking a look at the Feelworld LivePro L1. This is a live stream switcher that connects up to 4 HDMI connections. And before we get into all the texts and how to use it and all that good stuff, I just want to put out a disclaimer that this product was sent to me for review. All right, so I think this product is great for anyone who's trying to get started with live streaming with multiple cameras. Like I said, you can connect up to 4 cameras with HDMI connections. So I'll have timestamps in the description if you want to skip ahead, and I'm going to show you exactly how to connect it. So again, the 4 HDMIs, you connect it directly to the cameras. You can also get an out from the monitor. So if you're using an external monitor, you can also do an HDMI out from the monitor and into this. Sometimes that doesn't work, so just be aware of that. With certain cameras, it just, I don't know, it didn't work with my Zcam E2. This one right here, this is the behind the scenes. Actually, maybe I should start there. So right now I have 4 cameras connected. As you can see, this is my main angle. This is the second angle, the top down, behind the scenes camera. That is a Zcam E2, and I have a monitor on top, but I connected the camera to the monitor and I tried to get the monitor out into the switcher and it didn't work. So that's the one I'm referring to. But anyways, something to look out for. Sometimes you have to connect the HDMI directly from the camera into the switcher. And then this is the 4th angle. This is the red Komodo. And back to our main angle. So I connected all these cameras. For the red Komodo, the only thing I had to do is, since it's SDI, I had to get the red, this red Demon Quad Decimator. I don't know why I said red. It is red. And it converts the SDI into HDMI, and then I was able to connect it to the LivePro L1. So just something to be aware of if you're using more professional cinema cameras that don't have HDMI. Okay, so in the box, you're going to get the switcher, you're going to get the power adapter, you need to power it to the AC, and then you get the USB 3.0. Now here is, I needed to get a hub because my iMac only takes USB-C, and this is USB 3.0. If you get a cable that's USB 3.0 from here to, like, let's say Type-C, like directly into the MacBook Pro, it's not gonna work. You need to go this route, get a hub that accepts the USB 3.0. So just something to be aware of. This one here is from Zabrant, and I'll have a link in the description to all this stuff because there's a lot of things I'm using here. One of the things I recommend is also getting long HDMI cables. I'm talking 25, 30-footer ones, maybe 50, because, you know, like me, if you have the behind the scenes camera, you need a long cable to reach that far. And if you're doing live events, you're gonna need you're gonna need the 50-foot cables. I think that's as much as you can do. Back to our main angle. Okay, so again, this is the 4 HDMI, 4 cameras, and then you have an HDMI out. This one, I connected it to the C-Tech A10156, and that's it. That's all I'm doing. It's just, it's good to have a bigger external monitor. That way you can preview all the angles, and you can see what you're filming much better than if you're like trying to monitor from your computer, or I don't know. There's this, I don't know if you can see here from the top. This one in particular comes with a TFT 2-inch display of all the 4 angles. You definitely don't want to go off of this. It's better to use an external monitor. I recommend this to everybody. Okay, and then on the side here, you have audio in. You definitely want to use a mixer if you're going to use this. You don't want to connect the mic directly in. I tried that. It just, you don't get good audio levels. I think you need line levels. And then you have the audio out to monitor the audio. Doesn't work great, honestly. Then you have the LAN, which is there. If you connect it to the computer, you can use their program, their online program, to change the settings on the LivePro and do some things there. I wasn't able to do that. I tried their IP address that they had on their little manual, and it just didn't work. So, but it's okay because I was able to do everything I needed to do within the switcher itself. And then on this side, you have 1/4 inch, which you need a really strong magic arm if you're gonna hold this thing up, because it can get pretty heavy. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm gonna walk you through the menus and how the different effects that you can use. So I think the first thing that I should talk about is the preview, the quick preview. If you look here, press down on this button, you get a preview of all the cameras. This is really cool, the preview for showing a client. Actually, I'll explain. We did a multi-camera shoot and the client was not there. The actual director and DP were not there. And so we had to show them through Zoom all the angles so that they can get approval. We can get approval of the angles. And so we piped all the cameras through Zoom and we were showing them something like this so they can see the different angles. And so they were able to give direction, move the camera here, do this, take this out. So which is something that is happening quite often now in my video shoots. The actual client, the director might not be in the room because they can't make it out. They want to fly out due to the current situation. So being able to use something like this to pipe it to Zoom and they can see it real time, it's great. And you can give them this view or you can give them just individual camera view. And I'll show you how that works right now. If we dig into the system, into the menu, first thing is input. You see there's a 4 HDMIs. It's telling you what it's previewing it for on the computer. So right here is 24 and this is 60. And then HDMI, right now it's set to program. This is again, you can change it by the click of the button here. The format is at 60 frames. You can see there. We can change this if we want to. We'll leave it at 60. Let's go back. And then USB 3.0, this is where you can give the preview to the end client or to the end viewer, the multi-camera view. Again, this is a very specific kind of thing. So you can change this to preview or program depending on what the client wants to see. That's usually the case, you know, the person watching. Audio, you have input 1. Right now it's following the audio from the main camera angle, which is usually the case. I want to get the audio straight from the camera. That way there's no sync issue, there's no latency. If you're doing, let's say, external coming from here, you want to use an audio mixer. The only issue there is that you might get some latency, and so the words might not sync up with the audio. The video might not sync up with the audio. So that's something I've experienced. There's a little bit of a latency and you can't really control that. So what I would do is just get the audio straight from the main angle. Again, back to the menu, go to audio, and usually my main angle is input 1, but you can change this to whichever camera you think you want to use, you know. And you can also do embed, which it follows the audio from the camera you switch to. Usually you don't want that. You want to just have one audio source. And for me, it's usually the main camera, which is always plug it into the input 1. And audio bar, I leave that to off. Okay. And then going back, the other information you're not really going to use. Here's where you find the IP setting. You plug this into your computer once you're connected to the Ethernet cable. I plugged that number in, it just didn't work. So maybe it's because I have Mac, it only works through Windows, I don't know. Language, reset info, you don't really care for any of this. And that's it, that's the walkthrough. Now, if you want to do like really cool effects, this is where you go to the SW buttons. Here you'll find all the effects. You see the different fades options. There's straight cuts where you just go from one angle to the next. And there's fade. And I'll show you what that looks like if we change here to fade and exit out. And so I'm going to go from this main angle to the behind the scenes camera. You see there's a fade. And we can change also the duration. If we go back to the effects, click again, we can change how fast that happens. We can go up to for it to last 5 seconds, that transition, or it can be as low as half a second. Another thing you can do is change this from fast to TBar. And if you TBar, then you control the speed. The time here doesn't really matter. So if I exit out, if I go, let's say, back to our main angle, I press 1, our main angle, and then I do it at my own speed, you see? And then I press number 2, And then I am controlling the transition. And there's a bunch of different transitions you can use. You can also do this other one here. And you see that? Let's go to the fourth angle. You see I'm controlling. Oh, I want to go back. So that's pretty cool, being able to have control over the transitions using a TBar. I really like this little feature here. Not that I'm going to use it often. Usually I just stick to fade or just straight cuts. I'm not going to show you all of these, but you know, there's some really cool ones here. Moving on, the TBar. Let's change this back to fast, which is just straight cuts. And then let's leave it at half a second. That's fine. And then you have picture in picture. Let me show you one of these. You see here, I have a picture in picture. You can do right hand side or left hand side or bottom. You see that? And then there's this one which you don't want to use. It distorts the image. So, you know, these last four you don't want to stick to. And then you just turn it off if you need to, and you're back to your regular view. Then this little knob here, if you press it, then you have the control to the volume. That's the volume of the mic input. Usually I leave it at 50 and I have, which is the default, and I just control the audio via where the audio is coming from. If it's my mixer or the camera, I control the audio there. So I leave that alone. And that's basically the walkthrough. You know, it's very simple to use. If you're just getting started, I mean, it shouldn't take you long to figure it out. You know, one thing you do have to be aware of is when you connect this thing to your computer, it's gonna show up as ever USB device. And the audio, when you're selecting the audio on, let's say Facebook or YouTube or whatever program, you gotta select Feelworld USB 3.0. So it's named differently for the video and the audio. It doesn't show up as the same name, just something to be aware of. So to wrap this up, I gotta say that for $300, it's really hard to complain about this product. It's amazing what it can do. It's super powerful. I mean, think about the technology. It just has come such a long ways. And you're probably also wondering how is it compared to the A10 Mini Pro, the A10 Mini. I own the A10 Mini Pro, but it's not a fair comparison. It's a whole different price bracket. However, I gotta say that, you know, you get some really cool features that the A10 Mini doesn't have. This one has these little 4 screens. You know, it can pretty much do everything the A10 Mini can. So both are great. I gotta say the build quality though, this one feels a little bit more plasticky. It's not as robust as the Blackmagic. But again, you get this little screen that's great for just a quick reminder of which angle is what if you're just looking at the live switcher here. So if there's anything I did not talk about and you want to know more, or you know, you have a question, please drop it down below. As always, I appreciate you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.